When we consider the documents and speeches that have shaped American political life as we know it, placing President Donald Trump's tweets and Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook posts alongside the Declaration of Independence and Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail might not seem like an obvious choice. But in the 10th edition of A Documentary History of the United States, there's a new chapter titled Populist Revolt, Democracy Under Duress, which takes this classic publication into a new era of American history where democratic norms are being tested. Richard Heffner, the late legendary host of the long-running PBS program The Open Mind, published the first edition of the documentary history back in 1952. The new updated version is edited by the current host of The Open Mind, journalist Alexander Heffner, who joins us now. Alexander, welcome to the program. Now, I should say, for those who don't know, Richard Heffner was your grandfather, truly a legendary hero to many of us here in PBS. Among his many accomplishments, he was the first GM of Channel 13, and I had a chance to interview him, and it was an honor. So thanks for being here. Your grandfather first published this book 66 years ago. If you can, tell us what motivated him to put all these amazing documents within one set of book covers, and what was his criteria for those documents that were not so obvious to include?
Well, at the time, there was no Google. There was no independent resource for our heritage, maybe besides Encyclopedia Britannica. So it was the first of its kind in terms of being a bedrock foundation, an anthology of our history, not just the aspiration of perfecting the Union, but in fact the disunion. Yeah. And so they're documents that describe constitutionality in terms that we wouldn't today. The Dred Scott decision, for instance. So it really represents the betterment of our Union, but also the dark demons of
that is one thing that this book has, and maybe many other collections don't. I mean, you see the dark side. Right. You see the documents that show the struggles that we had to overcome.
It's true. And so to me, and I think it was important in our last update together, to continue to evolve the book. Sure. So we included transcripts of interviews here on PBS with the NewsHour, Jim Lehrer, when Vice President Cheney was interviewed about the Iraq War. Sure. So we began to evolve it in the last update to underscore
2013,
the importance of propaganda and the influence of television, which had been cited in earlier documents by Edward R. Murrow and Walter Lippmann, the advent of the radio and TV age, and now the advent of an age of disinformation. And
but let me get to that. Let me get to that, because I want to build up to that. But let's keep going the history of the book a while, and your history. Do you remember when you first read this book, or when you first dipped into it to read some of the documents, and what effect did it have on you?
I think just as when you watch 1776 and you hear those delegates signing the Declaration of Independence, it has this humbling effect on you. So those most formative early documents, whether it's Thomas Paine's Common Sense or the Declaration or the Constitution.
Yeah. Is there one document or one letter or one speech that particularly stays in your mind that you think really gets to the core of what the American character is?
I think you might have said it from the outset, letter from a Birmingham jail. Yeah. The cause of civil society is one that's being jeopardized today. Through a kind of disunion or disunity in the hyper-partisan environment of this country. And so that speech, to me, epitomizes a kind of constructive speech. We talk about political correctness today, but we don't talk about the importance of having the integrity, the architecture of our documents, really justifying them.
So tell us about the new chapter.
Yes.
What is it? What's in it? What was your goal with it?
The goal was to demonstrate how a populist revolt precipitated a climate where an infotainment culture hijacked our political scene through Donald Trump, but really in the decades that preceded his election. So the goal was to underscore the economic condition of this country that would perpetuate the populism in Bernie Sanders, who's also represented his speech after his New Hampshire primary victory, as well as Donald Trump.
Yeah, it sure is a time capsule of our times today. So listen, you're an acute observer of our political history. You're an acute observer of our current political climate. So let me take advantage of that and ask you to predict 10 or 15 years from now, what will the country look like? What new chapter, what documents would you be adding in a new version of the book in, let's say, 2030?
Well, let's hope that the printing press is still in order and it's not just on our Kindles and iPhones or whatever those devices, so that we can still see a volume. That'll be an important criteria of how much we've advanced as a country. I would say I hope that more women, especially the women who are running for office in this 2018 cycle, are shaping our history. And that really hasn't happened. And this book is a testament to the fact that it is male-dominated industries and male-dominated governance that has, in fact, been the documents that were lionized and the bleeding heart of the country, when in fact women have given birth to just as much American history, but not in the official formative channels.
All right, Alexander, the book is the Documentary History of the United States, 10th edition. It's an invaluable resource for reference resource, but it's also, if you read it from cover to cover, it's one of the best American history books that you can find.
Thank you. You're generous, Raphael.
Thank you so much for joining us.